Good evening. It's a pleasure to have you join us here on Rwanda Television News. My name is Gloria Mutesi. Starting us off tonight, Her Excellency Jeanette Kagame, one of the founding members of the Green Hills Academy, on Saturday attended a ceremony to recognize the best performing graduates at the academy who completed their high school education. The First Lady urged the students to continue working hard as they now begin to prepare for their university studies. Sessionary kicks us off tonight with this report.
The graduating class of 2021, 64 in number, have been given the name of Indanga Mirgwa, and 13 of them actually began the nursery school at the academy and have now completed their high school education at Green Hills.
I would say that the biggest achievement of our class is completing IB. IB was a turning point in our lives, a journey which made some of us even question our existence with a subject called TOK. We never backed down. We worked hard. We collaborated. We shared our ideas and concepts amongst each other, whether it was as soon as the lesson ended or whether it was some minutes before the exam started. But at the end, congratulations to everyone on completing their coursework before the deadline.
The school's principal says he is confident that the graduating students have been equipped with the proper skills to succeed in life.
You are embarking on a new adventure, an exciting adventure. Oh, we congratulate you on your acceptances to many excellent universities. Successful in university and in life. We have every confidence that you will continue the journey that you started here at GHA, a journey that will be filled with many accomplishments. Exceedingly proud of you, and we wish you the very best.
The guest of honor at the event commended the students for successfully completing their studies despite the challenges that were presented by the COVID-19 pandemic, and urged them to continue taking their studies seriously as they join different universities, maturing into productive people in society.
Dear graduates, in the face of all you have experienced, have confidence that there is a bright future ahead. While some of you have chosen to stay close to home to take advantage of what Rwanda has to offer, many of you have also secured acceptances to more than one university throughout the world, either in Australia, Belgium, Canada, Lithuania, Netherlands, Spain, United Arab Emirates, UK, and USA, to bring out the best in those around you and let them bring out the best in you as you work towards excellence of you during this very challenging year. But if you allow me, I have only one more request. As you embark on this new journey, remember that for any obstacle you find on the way, there are always solutions.
Green Hills Academy was founded in 1997 with 130 students and currently has more than 1,600. The school is internationally accredited.
Congratulations indeed to all the graduates today. Now, after the cabinet approved the resumption of traditional wedding ceremonies and wedding receptions, wedding couples and those intending to marry soon have expressed their happiness that they will be among the few who will have full wedding-related celebrations since the COVID-19 outbreak in Rwanda. However, the Ministry of Local Government is urging wedding planners to stick to COVID-19 safety instructions. Otherwise, the lifted restrictions could be reinstated. Ethan Tashovia with more.
Around 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 6, 2021, Namahoro Jean and Uwingabire Airmouse convened their families and friends for the traditional wedding ceremony, locally known as Gusaba, at the bride's home in Kanombe, Chichichiro district. The number of guests was limited to just 30 people, as per the government's COVID-19 prevention guidelines, to ensure social distancing and contain any possible spread of the deadly virus. It is at such ceremonies that intending couples such as Namahoro Jean and Uwingabire Emerance believe they have all the blessings of their parents and families as they embark on their matrimonial journey. It is important that we abide by the laws of our country. It is in that respect that we organize this traditional ceremony, which is very good because it makes the bride and the groom's families feel that the traditional values have been well respected, like exchanging cows and dowry, which are important in Rwandan culture. Families are happy, and we thank the government of Rwanda.
Today I would like to thank God who has enabled us to get to this day and made it possible that the government permits the resumption of traditional wedding ceremonies. Our hearts are full of joy.
Guests are equally happy that traditional wedding and related ceremonies have been given green light after a long spell due to COVID-19 restrictions. We're very happy because traditional wedding is one of the best elements of national culture, and we're grateful to the good leadership of this country who thought about this ceremony. Since the first case of COVID-19 was recorded in Rwanda in March 2020, traditional wedding and related ceremonies have been restricted in order to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The decision to lift these restrictions was taken by a cabinet meeting on Monday this week. According to the cabinet decision, guests at traditional weddings and related receptions should not exceed 30 persons. However, when conducted in hotels and entertainment venues or open gardens, they should not exceed 30% of the venue capacity, and COVID-19 testing will be required. It is a decision that has been equally welcomed by wedding planners and businesses dealing in this event.
Hosting 30% of the venue's capacity is something big that will help us get the business going, and as we work towards returning to normalcy. The reception area can accommodate up to 30% of its capacity, provided they have tested for COVID-19. And I think it is one of the steps we've been waiting for, and we feel it will continue to go up to 50%, 75%, and even 100%.
Gatabazi Jean-Marie Vianney, the Minister of Local Government, is urging the public and various agencies to work together to ensure compliance with COVID-19 prevention guidelines. If not, the lifted restrictions could still be reinstated. We call for everyone's cooperation, from the local authorities, security agencies, wedding guests and hosts, to comply with safety guidelines, and if necessary, wedding ceremonies shall be stopped if they do not comply with said health guidelines. Despite the continued lifting of some COVID-19 restrictions, Rwandans are urged not to let their guard down in regards to COVID-19 prevention measures as the virus continues to claim lives across the world. Reporting for RwandaTV News, Ethan Teshabia.
A 5-star floating luxury boat-like hotel boat is under construction on Lake Kivu in Karongi district and will be completed this year. The hotel boat is expected to attract tourists to visit the lake, which is why the Western Province officials are calling on the private sector to invest in the untapped opportunities in the region. A 20-meter boathouse, which is said to be a 5-star hotel, is being constructed in Karongi district. Mark Reed from the Afrinest Engineering Limited, a company overseeing the construction, says this hotel will be recognized internationally.
So technically it's a pontoon boat running 2 V12 diesel engines. Our accommodation is 10 cabins, so we have 8 smaller cabins, 2 VIP cabins, swimming pool, jacuzzi, full restaurant, massage room.
Afrinest Engineering Limited, a company that deals in engineering services in maritime, tourism and other related fields, say its purpose is to give tourists a variety of options when they visit Lake Kivu.
Because for tourists, they want to enjoy the environment of the lake, and this lake, as you know, the Lake Kivu is the most beautiful lake. It does not have all those garbage, you don't have water. Whenever you have like modern and safe ships, then the tourist will be more interested to travel on the lake and to do more activities on the lake. But right now we don't have those type of safe boats. So that's why our main motivation, this one is also our motivation, that we will make highly standard ships like whatever you see in Europe and other markets. So we can make those, and then the tourist will feel comfortable.
Those in charge of the construction of the boathouse say that if nothing changes, they will start operations at the end of this year. This is certainly good news to residents of the Western Province as well as investors in the tourism sector because it will attract more tourists.
We've been getting fish from Lake Kivu, and now we're going to get a hotel too. When tourists come to the country, they will visit Karongi, Rusizi and Rubavu to see the beauty that Rwanda has to offer. We are only used to seeing these boats' houses in movies such as Titanic, but now we'll have it physically here.
The governor of the Western Province, Habitajeko Francois, says this innovation is another opportunity to invest more in the province, as there are many lucrative opportunities.
This is an innovation indeed. Marine sports is amazing. People are coming up with new things. The region is still virgin. There is certainly more room for growth.
Apart from the Boat House Hotel, Afrinest Engineering says that it has plans to continue constructing passenger and cargo boats, as well as launch a training program for maritime services. Traders along the border in Rusizi district have urged the Ministry of Trade and Industry to ensure that cross-border trade is revived, saying it is nothing like the way it used to be, and for economic activities on the Rwandan side of the border to be revived as well, because they too seem almost non-existent.
The traders in the area blame their local leaders more than they blame the COVID-19 pandemic for their woes. I'm not trying to tell on anyone, but this mayor you gave us came here too late when things had already gone bad and there was nothing that could be done. The former district officials, including the consultative councils and relevant vice mayors, decided to close people's shops and order them to leave this border to go to Kamembe. And instead of relocating all the way there, the traders all decided to take their goods and cross the border into the DRC, taking their businesses with them. All of that happened before the COVID pandemic began, so you can't blame it for this. The leaders you gave us are to blame. We have made unspeakable losses, and many of those businessmen and women that crossed into the DRC decided to live there as well, not just do business. When the COVID-19 pandemic did begin, it only made matters worse for Rusizi district because the Congolese that used to cross into Rwanda looking for goods decided not to, seeing that so many businesses were now located on their side of the border. The Rusizi cross-border market is now virtually deserted.
I sell vegetables in this market, and since morning, not one person has bought anything. The market is pretty much empty because everyone is in Congo. The fact that the border is open and we are now allowed to cross means nothing if the Congolese are not willing to come and buy things here. They say there's no point of continuing to cross into Rwanda if all the goods find them there anyway.
Rwanda's Minister of Trade and Industry says steps are being taken to rectify the situation.
We believe we can revive the cross-border trade as the COVID-19 pandemic recedes, and the traders themselves are willing to do that. In the market too, we found a willingness to change things as long as restrictions on the border continue to be eased. As for those that decided to take their businesses across the border, well, some will most certainly come back because the buildings to do business are here. So are the goods, and the conditions for business in Rwanda are far better than elsewhere. They went there because they were following their customers when the borders were closed. But they've been telling us that life is hard there. We will return and hold an extensive meeting with their representatives about their bringing back their businesses here. The will and way for that to happen certainly exists.
Rusizi district officials say 150 traders decided to take their businesses across the border, but that figure is being disputed. It's not even 1,000 or 2,000 people who initially went there, more like 6,000 to 7,000. Now more than 10,000 live there. The minister has instructed the district officials to ascertain the exact number of traders that crossed into the DRC, and currently only a few Rwandans use the border while no Congolese nationals have been crossing into Rwanda.
Onion farmers in Mugina sector, Kamonyi district, say they hope not to suffer losses like they did in the last season C last year. They share the same concern with the farmers in Rubavu district who say they lack market for their produce.
Farmers in the Kavunja swamp from Mujina sector in Kamonyi district are worried that they will not have access to the market as they did last year because 600 tons of onions were not sold as usual due to the effects of COVID-19, while they plan to harvest more than 900 tons this season. The issue of lack of market for onions also affected farmers in Rubavu district. Nicola Belemo, the EU's ambassador to Rwanda who supports the farmers, said various agencies were working on a solution to the problem so that no farmer would lose out on the long-term storage of onions.
My hope and my dream is that one day, also thanks to the European Union support, there will be a wholesale market in Kigali that can, of course, provide all the facilities and the infrastructure even to reduce losses. And these combined with the increased production thanks to the, in terms of increasing the export. But of course this requires a lot of work in terms of quality, standards and marketing and packaging capacity. But I think this is something which is, let's say, on top of our agenda and on top of the agenda of the government of Rwanda. So I'm confident that there will be some improvements in the near future.
However, these farmers still use the traditional method of irrigation, which is considered a problem for them, especially for those with large pieces of land. The Karamarukomo, Rugalika and Mujina sectors in Kamonyi district are being monitored to increase the value of selected fruits and vegetables through to 2024. Uwase Alice, who heads the Oxfam in Rwanda, explained that even though they plan to close the doors in the country in March next year, this will not affect their support.
We have commitment to the donor, we have commitment to the communities we serve. We want to implement these projects up till the end, have them evaluated, have them audited, hand them over responsibly, and leave a strong legacy of a strong horticulture value chain in Rwanda, because we believe it makes significance that are actively engaged with good agronomical practices and have linkages to the markets, local and international. And then we say bye-bye.
Accompanying farmers in the process of increasing vegetables and fruit production and increasing its values is being carried out in Kamonyi, Nyamagabe, Rulindo and Nyagatare districts, which will cost about $2.5 million by 2024.
Survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Kayonza district say they appreciate the effort that was made in finding bodies that were thrown in Ruramira Dam. This Saturday, 226 bodies of genocide victims were accorded a decent burial. Ghislaine Mugwaneza has the details.
226 bodies of the Tutsi who were killed in 1994 genocide against the Tutsi and thrown in Ruramira Dam have been laid to rest at Ruramira Genocide Memorial. The activity of exhuming these bodies were done last year in 2020. The genocide survivors from this area have for long been troubled by not having the bodies of some of their loved ones still missing.
Many bodies were found in the dam. You could see water, but you couldn't see people. They used to tie them together and throw them in the water, and it also happened to me. How I survived? I tried to sink into the water until they thought that I was not alive and came out later.
The Eastern Province Governor Emmanuel Gasana appreciated the contribution of residents and other authorities in doing this action.
Be it the deputies that advocated for us every day, media that kept on reporting about this, and the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources that heard of the advices and requests from the residents and took the decision to destroy the dam to get the bodies. Even though it took long, the important thing is that it was done.
There are bodies that haven't yet been found to be accorded decent burial. The bodies are expected to be found in Gwingwavu and Mkaranje, where people were killed and thrown in pit latrines and other massive graves.